Hey, welcome back to the E-Forge Podcast, where we help purpose-driven entrepreneurs build the systems, mindset, strategies they need to scale their business and their life. I'm your host, Cory Long, and today's conversation is going to be a game changer for anyone who's feeling stuck in the day-to-day grind of running their own business. We're talking about how to move from being an operator, the one that's actually doing all the things, to being the owner, the one that's driving the vision, the growth, and the freedom. I couldn't think of a better person to break this down than my past guest today, Jess Cotter. Jess is a fractional COO that specializes in helping entrepreneurs put the systems, structures in place for their business to run without them, giving them the time and the space to lead, innovate, and grow. In this episode, we're going to literally unpack the process of making the shift, the biggest mistake owners make when they try to step out of the operator role, and really kind of this team and culture to support your long-term vision. If you've ever said, I just can't step away from my business, this is the conversation that will show you how you can. Jess, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being on today. Give people a little bit of an idea. I know you and I have talked many, many, many times.
Mhm.
Give people an idea of kind of your background, because I even learned something when we did our eForge call the other day inside the group, that you have a background in hiring for
Yeah,
contractors or something. I didn't even know you did that. So
yeah,
give people an idea of like what you've done.
yeah. So started, I guess, my professional career in recruitment consultancy, and worked within construction. So very interesting type of recruitment to be
That is
doing.
not what I was
Um,
expecting.
no, it taught me a lot, and I loved it. Absolutely loved the job. But I come from a family full of business owners. I
Hmm.
was never meant to have a boss.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I was built different, I think. And yeah, I think I'm like a fourth generation entrepreneur at this point. So I don't
Love
think it
it.
was in me to work for someone else as much as I love the job. And I always think like how fun it was because it was so fast paced. Moving into having my own business was the right step. So I started my first agency in 2018, built it completely the wrong way, and in 2021 burnt out badly.
Yeah,
Because it was brilliant and very much on the topic of this conversation. Everything relied on myself.
yeah.
And it was from the outside, it looked really successful, really good kind of monthly revenue, had a small team, but it was kind of the business or me.
Yeah, this was the one though that you built in the US, right? So you were still in,
No,
or
so
this was in the
that was
UK.
yeah, that was the first one. Then started my latest agency in 2021, and exited that on August, almost a year, like a
Oh
year
wow.
in 13 days. Did I exit that? And that yeah, that was built in the US. Built that up kind of multi six figures a month, exited it. It was always the plan. It was built to sell.
Yeah,
So built very different to my first one with the mindset of everything had to be able to be done without me. Like
yeah,
nothing could rely on me. Nothing was my solely my job. And yeah, even when you are doing everything at the start, when you go into something with that mindset, everything's built differently.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
A very different way of working.
Well, we've talked about before, business owners. My dad's a perfect example. My dad didn't take a vacation for 14 years once he started his business. Like
Yep.
I was 7 when he bought the company, and literally 14 years of like no
Yeah.
vacations. Like he just didn't go anywhere. And he had to be there at all times. And I think most business owners, they think, oh, I'm going to be self-employed and I'm going to own my own business and be able to control my time and all this
It,
stuff. And then they end up creating a really great job for themselves.
yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, let's face it, if everyone's honest, as much as everyone does go into business for passion as well. It's very rarely that someone will start a business that they really dislike. We do go into it for one thing, which is freedom,
Yeah,
but most people will only end up with one type of freedom, and that's either time or it's financial. And there's no point in having financial freedom if you haven't got the time to enjoy it. And there's
that's
no
right.
point in having time freedom if you haven't got the financial means to actually enjoy that time too. So it's that juggling act and learning, well, is it possible to have both? Yes, it is. It does take a lot of work to get to that point, but it's not a distant dream. It's not something which is so far in the future that only few can ever get to that point. You
Right.
can get to that point. It just takes the right things to make that happen. You're not just going to go from 10K a month to being completely out of the day to day. It does
Yeah.
take it takes hires, it takes strategy, it takes systems, all of these things to make that happen.
And it doesn't really matter what kind of business it is. I mean,
No, not at all. You can be any business.
yeah, my family owned a safety supply company, paint company. We sold end users. That was a totally different business than all the stuff that I
Hmm.
do now. And I'm seeing the same patterns across all
Yeah,
businesses. So it doesn't matter whoever, whatever business you own that you're listening to the podcast today, it doesn't really matter what kind of business it is, even though
not at
Jess and I
all.
both come from kind of agency
Yeah,
backgrounds. Even my epoxy business, we've learned how to kind of remove ourselves from that. And some
right.
of the other businesses I know that you deal with, the same thing.
Yeah.
So what's
I've
the
just been with
first?
a cleaning company.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah, like completely different.
Well, I know exiting the business is thinking backwards, right? Thinking at
Mhm.
like looking ahead and going, yeah, if I'm going to exit the business down, and you and I were just talking about
Yeah.
this a minute ago before we got on, that strategy helps us to kind of process. I know you got some things that you would like to share today. Like, what are some of the ways
Yeah.
that we move from that operator to owner to start that process?
So it's first of all, you have to establish the business that you've actually got and the way that you're operating it right now. Are you operating it in a scalable way?
Mm,
Because a lot of people, let's say you are an agency, for example, and every single thing you do, you offer some sort of custom package, you
right,
offer some sort of one-off thing for everyone, and you can look at all of your clients and say, "Ooh, only two do I do the same thing for?" And that's not meaning that you're using the same strategy for them, but in regards to the service that you're providing them, that's an issue. So you have to look at your business and say, right, okay, what I'm doing now, is it actually scalable? And the biggest thing that you have to do for that is you have to simplify things, which people think, well, clients won't join me because won't sign with me because it's suddenly not custom. You can still make things that are scalable custom. Like you
right,
don't have to get rid of that and you don't have to kind of get rid of that business, that side of your business, but the back end still has to be scalable. And things have to fit into certain boxes. Doesn't have to fit into one box, but it needs to be able to fit into certain boxes so you can actually do it over and over again. So it's really looking at your business as a whole to begin with. And then looking at that and saying, well, out of everything I do, how much solely relies on me?
yeah,
Because there are a lot of things which you can say, well, I do this, I do that, I do this, and all of these different things. And you can say, well, I tried to hire someone for this in the past, they didn't do it as good as me. Right, okay, well, what systems did you give them? Did you show them exactly how you do it? Because if you expect it to be done to the same standard as you
yeah.
should give them exactly how you were doing that. And people will be afraid, oh, I don't want to give away my secrets, or I don't want to give away my strategy. Yeah, I get it, but you're going to stay stuck for a while if you're
Yeah,
going
you're
to
not
be.
going to be able to do it without training them. You got to train them.
No.
Yeah, people
So
are
it,
afraid of training somebody and then them going off and doing the same thing.
yeah,
Most people don't. I think we forget that, what is it, like 4% of all people in the world actually are entrepreneurial driven.
yeah,
The rest of them they don't want to own a business. They don't want all
no.
that stress. They don't want all of the
They
other
just,
struggles. They
yeah, they
just
want to
just
know
teach them, educate them, help them have a great job. Like they're totally happy doing that.
exactly. And
Yeah.
it's really going through, and a lot of people will say, well, I've tried to hire for this in the past and it didn't work out. I always approach things as is this a system problem first before I look at the people.
Yeah.
Because very often it's a systems problem. That's not saying that people don't make the wrong hires. 100% that happens. But if someone comes to me and says, right, okay, I've hired this person, it's not working out, they're not doing these things right, I go, right, okay, show me exactly what you've given them to show them how to do it. And
It's
they will
lacking, I'm
think,
sure
oh,
it does.
well, I did these calls with them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, is there anything I can refer back to? Oh, I might have the recording. Okay, so if you might have it, they definitely
Yeah.
don't have it.
Yeah.
Um, but always looking at that and saying, right, okay, well, all the things that I do, I need to get all of that documented and I need to get all of it systemized. And that by doing that and actually being very conscious of the work that you're doing, it will allow you to simplify some of your processes as well. Because a lot of things we do, because we do them every single day or every
Sure.
single week, it's just a natural thing that we do. We just do it, we get on with it, we don't think about it that much. That's when you need to start consciously thinking about the tasks that you're doing and thinking about the steps that you're following. And it doesn't need to be like some super long process for you to go and figure out how to redo every single bit of your business. But just saying, right, okay, these bits actually, how I'm doing it right now, can be done by someone else.
Right.
However, these bits are unable to.
Yeah. I think for me, and you and I have had conversations. For anybody watching the podcast, Jess is a fractional COO for one of my businesses. And it's been interesting to watch how, from her viewpoint, looking into the business, going, "Hey, did you do this? Did you do this? Do you?" And it's interesting because I am naturally the salesperson. I'm naturally the guy out front. I'm naturally that person, the vision person. I can come up with a gazillion ideas of the way to do a thing, all of that, right? But this is not a natural thing for me. And I would imagine based on what is that book? I read it a long time ago. It talked about how there's basically two different personalities in a business. There's the vision
Mhm.
guy and there's the operator guy, right? I'm definitely not the operator person. And so for those of us that we're not naturally bent that way or see that very easily. I think this is how, oh, Traction. That was what
Yeah.
yeah, Traction was a great book to kind of open my eyes to the fact that I don't have to be everything in my business. I can
No.
find Jesses that love to do what
Yeah.
she does. I love to do what I do, and then work together with them to get the end result that I want.
100% because as a business owner, we're never going to be the expert at everything.
Yeah,
As a business owner, you also have to learn a lot of things, but it's just kind of having that ability to say, I'm going to learn how to do this, but I know I'm probably never going to be the best at it, and that's okay, but I'll be able to do it until the point where I need to hire someone else to do it. So it's because you need to be able to provide, if you're a service-based business, you need to be able to provide that service well, 100%. Like you shouldn't do it
yeah,
without. But all the back end things that come with a business, yeah, you do have to figure it out as you go along until you've got the financial means to get that help.
yeah. I think a lot of times I think for me, I've thought, well, it has to be done this way, or I can't afford to hire whatever it is. What I
Yeah,
found is a lot of times like a fractional COO like you, uh, isn't as far a stretch as what I thought it might be,
no,
or that it gives me more clarity even into what I'm doing, which helps. It helps me to be able to go, oh, I know that that's getting done and it's getting done right. I don't have to go
yep,
back and because you're hiring A players, then you're not
yeah,
messing around with people that don't know how to do what they're doing.
100%. And people will. When you are moving through this transition, briefly what we were discussing, Corey, there is that mindset shift that people have to go
Mm,
through as well. It's not as simple as just saying, right, okay, I'm going to do this because your business is your baby. It is almost like another child that you're
hmm
because you've built it from scratch. You put all your time in, you've probably put some money into it. So it's something that you want to nurture and you want to make sure succeeds. So it's going through that mindset shift as well of going from rather than you just doing it, designing it,
Right.
building the systems, actually running them, and kind of going through then rather than you controlling everything, coaching someone else on how to do it based on what you've just designed through those systems. And going through and doing these bits and kind of going from, right, okay, I did all these things. I got my business to this point, but I'm never actually going to get to the point I really want to be at if I keep doing it this way. And going through those shifts personally, which are big, and it is scary because you can think, well, if I make the wrong decision here, am I going to go and lose a load of business? You can talk to most business owners and they will tell you they've made the wrong hires. I used to be a recruitment consultant. I've made the wrong hires. Like
I
it's part of being in business. You're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna
yeah,
mess up. People are also very good liars.
yeah.
People are very good at not telling the truth. So it's really going through that and really looking and saying, right, okay, my mindset has to change to be able to get this business to grow and really turn it into a real business because we are in the luxury now of you can start a business with very little
Oh
resources.
yeah.
And if you look at it before, you needed a premises, you needed all these overheads, you needed all these different things, you needed business loans, you needed all these different things to be able to actually put together a business. Now you can start it from your phone. You don't even necessarily need a laptop. So it's things have changed so significantly that because it's so easy to actually start now, people forget that they're actually running a business.
Right.
And it's too many people treat it as like a hobby.
Right.
And it's, well, sure, you can treat it as a hobby if you want it to be a hobby. But if you actually want this to be a business that will sustain your lifestyle, will be able to set you up for retirement, all of these different things to be able to exit if you wanted to. You have to take it seriously and it has to be built like a business.
Yeah, I think a lot
Yes.
of times what end up happening is we get lulled into comfort, or we get, especially what you were just saying a minute ago, we dabble in it, expecting it to magically produce money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like I see it all the time. You and I both are involved with tons of business owners, and
Hmm.
there's so many that we always know we're the clog in the system. We're the one that's holding back
Yeah,
the business. It's just a part of being a business owner. We have to grow with the business, and if we're not growing, we become that no matter what. And it doesn't matter what size
100%.
of business that it is.
No. And
Yeah,
that's one of the biggest things, and that Corey, I'm sure you can understand this as well, is when you do bring someone else in, like myself or of a similar role, is as a business owner, you kind of have blinkers on. It's
yeah,
tunnel vision. You're looking at this and you're only seeing it in one way. When you bring someone else in, they're seeing the whole picture.
yeah,
And it gives them a very, or it gives a business owner a very different point of view and uncovers things which they can't see. And sometimes those are things which they don't necessarily want to hear, but is the harsh truth. But it's going, well, this is now the reality of the business. This is actually what's happening. Let's fix that. Or
right,
let's make this work better because there's so many different ways to run a business.
yeah,
But and you could follow one internet guru versus another, and those will both tell you two very different ways to do something. And then you'll find another person you go, oh, maybe they've got the answer, and they'll tell you a different way to do it. And it's not saying that anyone's wrong or right, but if you do start to follow someone and you want to do it, just stick to their method. Because if you try
yeah,
to combine all these different things, things end up being a mess.
yeah.
And people can get really, really stuck on it. But it's if you are really looking to make the shift from being kind of that operator and being in the day-to-day every day. One of the biggest things you can do is actually audit your current role. And I discussed this with Corey on a training the other day, is people don't actually understand the power of audits and actually being able to see where their time is going, being able to
Right.
see where all of their energy is going. But through that audit and kind of doing a time audit can be very simple. I've literally put a notepad next to you every 15 to 20 minutes, write down the task that you're doing. Um, and be able to actually look at where all your time's going. Because I know, like if I today, for example, my day went a little bit skew all over the place. But if someone asked me, well, what did you do today? And I was to give them answers, I know I would miss things out that I've done.
Oh
I
yeah,
know there's these small tasks which play a big part of my day. Um, and you miss them out. So that's why I always suggest people to do that time audit. That then also allows you to see what to systemize first. What's constantly coming up? What are the admin-based tasks? Because that generally is the first place that you want to start to get rid of a bit of your time.
yeah. It's amazing
Like,
how
get
that
rid of
little
the
stuff chews up time. You just don't
100%.
realize it.
Definitely. And then once you've got that, is you can actually start to systemize it. You can start to simplify it. And then you start to say, right, okay, well, I've done this part. I can now move on to some of the bigger things, delivery, communication, reporting. You can move on to those bigger tasks and go, right, I'm going to systemize that. Build out those SOPs to do it. And SOPs, honestly, they're not as scary as people think. Like, they don't need to be a 24-page document. Um, they don't need to take you 10 days to do anything like that, but they are essential.
Yeah,
And it's even if you're stuck and you're starting out, start with a Loom video.
right.
Literally just record what you're doing. Um, Start there and move forward from there because that there will help you instantly.
There's AI now that'll take those Loom videos and turn them into SOPs.
But I've given your group the exact one that I've built.
Yep.
So it's things like that instantly kind of help your time. But from that audit as well, it will really allow you to see what to delegate first. And then once you've got those systems, you can actually start to delegate effectively. And not many people talk about the delegation ladder, from kind of like the task, process, ownership type of perspective. It is actually really valuable. So more
Yeah,
people should actually look into the delegation ladder because you don't delegate everything in the same way, depending
right.
on the task and depending on the skill set of the talent that you're delegating to. So it's really looking then at how to delegate. and how to pass that over. And delegating doesn't mean that you just hand over an SOP to someone and say, good luck, I really hope this works for you. You do have to be a leader in that. Once you've started to delegate things, your time naturally, you'll have these small bits of time initially freeing up. And it won't be something which you'll hire your first VA, for example, and go, wow, I've got all this time now. No, it frees up a little bit of time, and then it's being strategic and where that time should go. But once you've got that first bit, you can then say, right, okay, that time that I was spending doing those tasks, I should be focusing on growth related tasks. Or actually, I was realizing some of my fulfillment was suffering. I need to go and fix that. Then I can move into the growth based tasks. But
Right.
really planning out where your time should go so you can continue to delegate, you can continue to hire, and actually step into that leadership because it's not going to happen overnight. But with all of these roles that you are hiring, if you're not going to be a good leader, it's never going to work. And
Right.
being a good leader doesn't mean that, right, I need to give people loads of freedom or I need to constantly check in what they're doing. It's finding that balance and also finding the leadership style that works for you. Because a lot of people will try and tell you this is the exact way to be a leader. Yeah, sure, that's fine. But not the same, or the same strategy doesn't work for everyone. So
Right.
find out, right, how am I the best leader? There are principles which everyone should kind of stick to in regards to the regular communication with their team checking in, making sure things are okay, etc. But you don't have to stick to one strategy just because you've seen someone talk about it. Explore different kind of styles of leadership. Explore how you think, right, okay, this is what would work best for me, and go from there.
Yeah, I think for me, I have coming out of family business, which you know that fully well, that's a whole different world. And then going into ministry work for 17 years, that was a whole different world. And leadership in ministry in that world, nonprofits especially, totally different world.
Hmm?
And then moving into small business where initially it was really hard for me to remove the ministry hat and go, this is a business now. Like this is different, the way I need to think about it, the
100%.
way I need to do everything. And it still bleeds over sometimes
Yeah.
in ways that aren't good in the way
Yeah.
that it bleeds. But yeah, you're right. Leadership, and I think one of the biggest for me especially, one of the biggest things that's helped me is getting around other people that are leading businesses, getting into
100%.
mentors or coaches or going to events or activities where I get around
Yeah.
people that I can see and model what they're doing, how they're leading. And we don't, I don't know. Some business owners are too busy thinking, well, I don't have time to go do that, or I don't want to spend the money on that, or whatever.
Yeah.
But the reality is you're going to speed everything up, finding people that have
Yeah.
already been there, done that, bought 12 t-shirts, and
Exactly.
right, they've already failed the business and had to create it
Yeah.
again and do all that. You can learn so much from those people. It fast forwards everything you do.
And it's like that thing of you don't actually want to be the smartest person in the room.
No.
Go Phil, like I this and this is not a typical thing I think for most people, but I almost love a room where I feel a little bit intimidated by the
Yeah,
people that
uncomfortable.
I'm with. Yeah, and I think, whoa, right, okay, I'm a bit out of my depth here, but
Yeah,
I can also say, right, I'm going to feel a little bit overwhelmed for a couple of minutes, but if I can go up and talk to these people, I guarantee you I'll be able to take some sort of nugget from each conversation.
that's
And
right.
it's, yeah, like you said, you don't need to think, oh, I need to go save up this money to go to this massive event where it's like $1,000 for a ticket, and that's the people I need to surround myself with.
Yeah,
Literally, just surround yourself with people that are business owners because
yeah,
no matter what business you've got, every business owner generally has very similar struggles. And every person will feel that pressure. They will feel the pressure on their family time. They'll feel the pressure of, I don't know what's coming next. I don't know what the economy's doing, all these different things. Everyone's experiencing that,
right.
no matter what business they own. And it's like you're the perfect example of you've got an event that you're speaking at soon.
Yep.
That's not much to attend that. And you're going to be able to
Yeah.
sit in a room full of people that have tons of experience.
Yeah. And they have
Maybe,
the same problems, the same issues, like you
yeah,
said.
exactly.
Yeah,
Everyone will be looking for what, oh, right, okay, what's the best way for me? Or what's the best tax strategy for this? Or what's the best way for me to use this incentive? All of these different things. But it's really understanding and just saying, right, okay, I need to put myself out there. I
yeah,
need to go learn from these people because it is. You will meet a lot of people that were in a similar situation to you where
sure.
it's just you and they're doing all the work. Then you'll start to meet those people that, right, okay, well, that person's got a team or two or three now, and one of those guys has been with him now for 4 years. Okay, well,
Yeah.
they're doing something right there.
Yeah.
Really looking at it. And even if you look at a construction business, for example, you'll go, oh, well, they don't have SOPs or anything like that. I can guarantee you to a degree they do.
They
They will have
do.
certain checklists for when
They
they complete
do.
jobs. Someone will have been with them to show them exactly what to do, quality check that. There will be all of these steps in place, which just because they haven't put it in ClickUp doesn't mean that it's not
Right.
there.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So
We get
that
it in our head that it has to be a certain way like that.
Yeah,
That's
and it
true.
doesn't. And it's
Not true.
like people, I personally like Notion a lot. I've used basically everything that's out there. And
Yeah.
people will say to me, what's the best platform for me to use? And I will always say the best platform for you to use is the one that you're actually going to use.
Use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I say to them, I don't care what that's going to be.
Yeah.
Whatever you think I'm going to go and use that one. It's
Yeah.
because to a degree, most of them will do the same thing. Some I personally find a little bit more user-friendly than others, but if you're going to use one which maybe I wouldn't choose, it's not saying you're not doing it right.
Right.
I'm not going to say, oh no, for your success, your business, you need to do this. If you're using it, good on you. Go do it.
Yeah, most
It's
of us have bought softwares that we've never used, especially not the full potential. Like I don't know how many softwares we paid for that we've logged in a few times, but we've never really set it up right,
no,
use it. Yeah,
exactly. So it's all these different bits which really go into making that shift because it is that mental shift
it
initially,
is.
but there's that aspect of all of the details that need to go into it to actually make it work.
Yeah,
Because you're never actually running a business. You're a freelancer until the point where you can say, well, I can take time off. And I always remember it was my dad actually said this to me. And he said, like, well done on how successful and how good I was doing. And he could also see how much I was working. And he said, right, okay, you can see that you're successful right now. He said, but you're going to really know you're successful when you're making the same level of money and you're not working in the way that you're doing it right now.
yeah,
And I remember like that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I just thought, no, I'm doing well now. People that do well work really hard. Yeah, they do work really hard, but I also capped myself at that level. And yes, I worked really hard in the next business and I worked very hard, but I worked hard on different levels of things.
right.
And I learned what to get rid of first. So it is like I took offense when he first said that to me. I was like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
what am I not successful? Like this is how well I'm doing for myself. And it's well, yeah, in reality, I was missing family dinners, I was doing all this different stuff,
yeah,
and I just kind of stayed in my flat working. And I
yeah,
look back and I think, wow, I could have had fun. Like I could have done all these really cool things, but taught me a lot, which I
yeah,
I will be thankful for that it taught me a lot. But it is you realize like I missed out on like my grandmother's last birthday here. So it's like things like that. And I just think it wasn't that important.
that's
Work
right.
is important, but it seems it in the time. And that's why it's so important to say, well, I've still got to live my life. Even if you have massive financial goals and all these different things, you've still got to live your life
Yeah,
because it's,
I think one of the challenges that we did, and this kind of speaks into that. We at one point we decided to go on the road in an RV, and when we did, I did not have all the systems and processes set up correctly. Like I
no,
just didn't. And we just went on the road. We just decided
yeah,
we're just going to do it and then we'll figure it out as we go. In some ways, it was great because it did. It taught me a ton of lessons, but we also saw a lot of instability and all of that because I didn't have it set up right. But taking those vacations, like I know a guy right now that takes every month, he takes a week vacation with his family every
yep,
month. He built his business to be able to do just that because he was like, I want to put family first.
yeah,
I'm going to build it that way from day one. And that's what he does. Like, there's all kinds of ways to
100%.
build a business.
There's loads of, yeah, it doesn't just need to be one way and you have to say, right, okay, because that is the biggest thing of the world that we live in now is you will see all of these people flaunting massive numbers and
Oh,
flaunting these
yeah.
lifestyles. You go, well, I need to do it exactly the same way as they've done it. Okay, well, of course they must have done something right because they got to the level they're at.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that that will work for you. It's really finding what will work for you rather than what works for
Yeah.
someone else. Because
Yeah.
yeah, me and you, for example, we operate and work in different ways. Doesn't mean that one of us is right and one of us is wrong. It's just
Yeah.
the way we work, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
It's when you do, it is a decision first that someone has to make. You have to make that decision to say, right, I have to make this change now. I want to, I've got bigger goals than what I'm working to right now. I want to do more with my life, or I want to experience more, whatever that is. It starts with that decision. Then go back over those steps that I just went over, start to implement those, and start to work on your mindset at the same time. And realize that, yeah, not every contractor is out there to steal your strategies. And you can find very good talent. Not saying that
Yeah.
you'll find them on the first try, but there's very good talent out there. And the likelihood is there's someone out there that's better at doing what you do better than you, which is a hard pill to swallow.
It is.
Really, really kind of annoying, but you're not an expert at everything.
I
And
think
that's,
I think we've bought into so much of the hustle and grind culture and
yeah,
all of that that we've lost sight of the reality of what it is to. I don't know that there's really balance in life with business. I think it's just whatever that looks like for you. Like you
yes,
said,
yeah,
you and I live very. You're still working on U.S. time frame, even though
yeah,
you're on a totally different time frame
yeah. And
than me.
yes, like I got used to that with my agency and I've just continued to do it. But
Right.
it's that works well for me, for
Yeah.
example, because I know in my morning I get some tasks done. I'll go to the gym, go take the dog out,
Right.
and enjoy that time in the morning. And that works perfectly for
But
me.
I also know you go out to eat at dinner with your friends
Yeah,
and family, and I know you
exactly.
do all
And
that,
it's,
even though that's right in the middle of your
yeah,
work time, right?
but I
Yeah.
can still make it work.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just going, well, yeah, how do I want my life to look?
Yeah.
Because it is like, for me, for example, I went from having a business that I've just exited to I always did some consulting on the side, but I now have a business full time, which is much more centered around me. I personally am looking at this and going, right, okay. And I've been doing this over the past couple of months and making my business a heck of a lot more scalable.
Right.
Because if I just continue to sit here and do it in the way that I'm doing it right now, yeah, cap myself
Yeah,
pretty
there's a
quickly.
ceiling. Yeah.
Didn't take much at all. And it is hard because I have a massive passion for what I do and I love what I do. So it does make it that bit harder. But I've also started the exact same thing over again. And I'm
Yeah.
going, okay, let's look at this. And very much like I've said, I went to someone and said, right, okay, this is my business. Look at it for me. Tell me what you would suggest or tell me what I'm not seeing. And it uncovered stuff which made me uncomfortable. It uncovered things which I thought, ooh, right, okay, that wasn't what I thought, but it's what needs to happen for me to move
Right.
forward. And
Right.
because, yeah, it's, as much as I enjoy what I do, I also want to be able to help more people.
Yeah.
So you have to make changes to make that happen. And that's one of the best ways I think to look at it is say, well, look at the results that I'm getting for people. No matter what, even if that's a cleaning company and you're doing commercial cleaning, but the office at the end of at the end of kind of maybe the Thursday you go in is always spotless.
Right.
Brilliant. Well, would you not like for your customers to, or even more customers to have the happiness which yours do right now? And be able to help more people. And it's looking at it in that way of saying, I can actually only help a certain number of people if I continue to do things in the way that I'm doing it. And I
Right.
think for me personally, that's the best way I can look at it because it's some people will look at it purely financial,
Oh, sure.
and that's absolutely fine if like, but it's you always have to have that deeper why as well. As much as financials can be a significant part, have that deeper why.
Well,
And
you and I both know you start to put things in place the right
yeah,
way and the finances come. There'll be a time that it's going to be a little tough,
yeah.
maybe a little tight, but once it starts to open up, it changes things.
100%. Never be afraid to make the changes in your business
Yeah.
because people will say, oh, well, it's worked this way for so long. Yeah, I get that completely. And it's always scary to make change. But the worst that's going to happen is you just go back to how it was being done before
Sure.
and try to figure it out in a different way.
Sure.
And it's people will always say, oh, well, I'm scared of losing clients. I'm scared of doing this. I always say, if you've done it once, you can do it again. If you've made one sale, you can make a second one.
Yeah.
If you systemize one thing, you can systemize another. It's just always think the hardest part, like the hardest thing is always that first step, isn't it? The hardest thing is the first time you do it. Once you've done
Yeah.
it once, you can do it again.
So if somebody's watching this and they're like, I have a real big desire to learn more about this. Because I know for me, when I reached out to you, it was random. You had
Yeah,
shown up in my feed somehow. I'm not even sure how. You and I became friends somehow. Still don't know where that happened.
yeah.
And I kept seeing you post about this is what I'm doing for this owner, and this is
Huh?
what I'm doing for this guy, and I systemized this, and we built this
Mhm.
SOP, and all of that. How can they find out more about what you're doing? Because I know you do the fractional COO work, but you also are starting other projects that you have, and you still own a part of an agency, and I know
Yeah, oh
you've got
yeah,
your hands in a lot of things.
still got my fingers in the agency pies. But yeah, best place is reach out to me on Facebook or LinkedIn. One of the two. I'm always active on those.
Okay.
Jess Cotter, and we'll put the links in as well. But it means that you'll get a pretty fast response from myself rather than just emailing an email list and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
So yeah, reach out to me on social media. And I am someone that I would always rather someone ask a question than not,
Yeah.
so they can get some sort of help. I'm not going to say you have to work with me or pay all this money for a piece of advice. If I've got something I can give to you, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Because it's like I just said, the first step is the hardest. If you
Yeah.
get over that first hurdle, you're on the right track. But it's, yeah, please reach out and ask because I'm always more than happy to help anyone.
Yeah, I think people are I know for me, I think I just PM'd you and said, "Hey, I'm not
Yeah.
really sure what you do, but kind
Yeah.
of seems like something I'd be interested in, blah blah blah." We kind of got chatting and then
Mhm.
you and I had a conversation
Yeah.
and you wanted to know, is this a fit for what you do? We
Hmm.
always want to work with people that we want to work with. I mean, that's
Yeah.
always a big thing, right? And
And
that's a good thing about being a business owner. We can choose.
yes, and that's another big part of actually the conversation we just had is sometimes you have to think is the people that I'm speaking to is does this person actually fit into the business or am I
Yeah.
just saying yes to try and please someone?
Yeah.
And it is difficult, but if someone's not actually going to fit into the best way which you work, there's probably someone else out there which will help them better. And
Yeah.
that's fine. There's plenty of people out there which you can help in the way that you help people. So it's your business, it's your life. So work with the people you want to work with. You don't have to work with the people you don't.
I think we feel like I know for me, one is I only knew business as what my family business did. And
Hmm.
it was always operator driven. Dad never
Yeah,
could leave. My brother, even as he got take over the business and all of that, he really couldn't leave. He recently exited that business
yeah,
probably a year ago or so, year and a half ago. And I look back and I think, Dad always was on call. He was always available. And I remember literally being in the middle of Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving or whatever. And Dad would
yeah,
get a call and they'd be like, Kim, can you come down? I ran out of paint or I did this or
yeah,
we're out on this rig and we need this blah, blah, blah. And Dad's like, yeah, give me about
yeah,
20 minutes and I'll be down there, and because he felt like he had to. Like
yeah,
that was his business. It was his like everything. And I look back and I watched my dad struggle until I don't know, the last maybe 10 years of his life. Not financially, he did really great as the business grew, right? Like you said, but he never had the time. And then when he did have the
yeah.
time, he didn't have the health. His
No,
health
and then
started to
yeah,
decline.
that's the biggest thing is you just got to remember it's your life.
Yeah,
Do
build it the way
how
you
you
want
want
it.
to live it. Yeah. And one kind of last thing is that this way a lot of people get caught up. Money isn't everything.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely a tool which helps you a lot, but you have to have that deeper why.
Yeah.
Because the moment you just focus on the money, you will never ever be as satisfied. Because like people make it that like you hit these revenue milestones and like fireworks will go off, your life will completely change. No, it won't.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah, you might have a little bit more money in your pocket, but you just it comes with a whole new level of stress.
That's
So
yeah.
that's like, and it's, I work with agency owners and I work with some agency owners which go, right, okay, well, I want to get to 250K a month. Brilliant, that's fine. I work with other agency owners and we've mapped it out. And that at 43K a month,
Yeah, they're
they would
happy.
take home exactly what they want to take home. They've got the
Yeah.
team to take over the fulfillment. They're
Yeah.
really happy profit margin and they're happy there. There's
Yeah.
no right or wrong, but they know what they actually want to get out of life. Neither is the wrong kind of revenue to be at, but just to have that deeper why, because you will never ever be satisfied if it's just the financials that you're looking at.
Yeah, I think that's been a hard learning lesson. I know for me initially it was about paying the bills. I think we
Yeah.
all get
Oh,
into
yeah.
something, right? It's I need to go pay the bills and I got to go hustle to be able to get that next sale and
Yeah.
now I've got payroll that I've got to take care of and oh my goodness, now I got taxes and I don't even know what to do
Yeah.
about that, right? And like it's all these benchmarks and like you said, we have this feeling we're going to get to this destination that all of a
Yeah.
sudden we're gonna have a parade and people are
Yeah,
gonna be cheering
exactly.
us on and there's
Yeah.
fireworks and
Right.
I remember hitting 15K a month because that was my initial goal when we started our business 10 years ago. I did that within about 8 months. We hit
Yeah.
15K a month and I was thought this is gonna revolutionize my
Yes,
life.
it changed my life.
It
It didn't.
felt no different than the two
Yeah, yeah.
months before that. Like none.
Exactly. That
And then
is
I
a
was like, wow, this is weird.
yeah, exactly. It is. It's so yeah, never just focus on the financials in your business. There's so
Yeah.
much and so
Yeah.
much more. But it's if yeah, if anyone does have any questions, just reach out to me. It's Jess Cotter on Facebook or LinkedIn. You'll see my face, so you'll know it's me. But yeah, please just reach out with questions and I'm more than happy to answer them.
Well, Jess, this has been powerful. You've given us a clear path to move from the grind of operator mode into the
Yeah.
freedom and focus of true ownership. Thank you for sharing your wisdom today. Guys, you need to go follow her on Facebook, LinkedIn. Make sure and check out all of her. It's just the posts that she writes, even many times, help me to think differently. It helps me to
Hmm.
see my business differently and all the different businesses that we have. And it's helped me kind of to move not just not just the agency that I have, but even the new eForge training group that I have. That's something that is I'm building it the way I want it. Instead of building it in a way that has to be a certain way, I'm building it the way I want it. So make sure you go follow her on those two platforms, especially get a hold of her if you have questions about what she does. She does fractional COO work still. She does other things. I know she's got some trainings and stuff that she's putting together
Yeah.
that she would more than happy to share with you. Hey, if this helped you today, if you're a listener today and you're like, this is hitting home. This is something that I really, really liked. Make sure that you share this with somebody that you know that's a business owner or share it with somebody that you know is struggling, especially right now, that's trying to free up their life to become the business owner that they know they can be. And as Jess mentioned a minute ago, we are going to have Magnify Your Wealth November 7th through the 9th. If you're listening to this and you're like, I need to get around people like this, I need to get around. In fact, we're trying to get Jess to this event. So we don't know yet if she's going to be able to make it. We're trying to get her to the event. But Magnify Your Wealth is going to happen in Dallas, Fort Worth area. November 7th through the 9th. You can find any of that information by going to at the real Cory Long across any platform. Just pick one. It doesn't matter what it is, at the real Cory Long. You'll find me on all the social medias, YouTube, everywhere. Wherever you found this podcast, you will probably find me, and it'll actually give you the details about Magnify Your Wealth. This is a place for you to get in the room with other business owners, like she said, to make you feel a little uncomfortable. You're going to be
Yeah.
around people that are farther ahead and they're already there. They've already did the thing. They've already done all of the steps and the processes. And that'll help you to help you get around those people. I sat with a billionaire the last time I was at one of these events, and I was like, okay, that's not something that happens every day. So you want
Yeah.
to get around those people, get in the room, leave a review if you love what you've seen so far. And again, make sure and share. New episodes drop every Thursday. So get ready for the next one. It's going to be another game changer. Thank you so much for being on today, Jess. And thank you guys for listening to the eForge podcast.